What's up, everybody? I am your host and founder, Jaylon Shoots. Today, we're back with another episode of Sit Down with Swaggy Shoots. As you can see, it's just me today, but don't go nowhere because we got a lot of stuff on the map today. We're going to talk about Cowboys, we're going to talk about Dak, we're going to talk about some college football, and you know the deal, we're going to talk about life. So, without all that being said, let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys demolished the Giants, man. The game was so embarrassing. Like, the game was over before it even started. In the first quarter, it was basically wraps. The Cowboys had over 600 total yards. Brandon Cooks had 9 receptions for 173 touchdowns. My bad, 173 yards in the touchdown. I'm so glad that Brandon Cooks got his breakout game. And before the game even started, I knew this was the game to get him involved in. This is the game where he could go off and can benefit because it's the Giants, bro. Like, I know the Giants is a pro team, but it's the Giants. Like, there's no excuse for him not to have good numbers, especially they're down in their secondary. So I expected that to happen. And I'm so glad that it happened for Brandon Cooks because, as y'all know, I intern at CBS 11. I be at the start every Wednesday. I be with the players every Wednesday. Brandon Cooks is one of the nicest players to me, man. Brandon Cooks, he always makes sure to say what's up to me. Like the other day I was walking, and I try my best not to really talk to them like that because I'm there to prove a point. I'm not there to just be, just socializing and like, oh my God, it's them and them. I try not to do that. I just try to be on there on straight business, But Brandon Cooks always makes me feel welcome. Brandon Cooks always make me feel like I belong. Like the other day, I didn't even say anything. I was just walking. He said, what's up, and dadded me up. Like, he came and dadded me up. That made me feel so good, and Brandon Cooks deserve it. And he's a man of God, too. Brandon Cooks is just a good dude. He's a good dude, and I'm so happy for him. I really am happy for him. So, shout out to Brandon Cooks. We're going to talk about Dak and CeeDee. Man, CeeDee is making history. CeeDee is the first person in the Super Bowl era to have 10 receptions and 150 yards each game throughout 3 games. That man's showing out. I was there when the media, us, I guess, was asking him about him demanding the ball. And he was saying, like, I'm not trying to demand the ball, like, to be somebody that's pouting. I just want to help the team. I know I can help the team. And he believes he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. And he's playing like it. Like, he can do everything. That's the beauty of having CeeDee Lamb on your team. If you want to put him on the outside, you can put him on the outside. If you want to put him in the slot, you can put him in the slot. You want to motion him, you can motion him. You want to run him like they did with the little reverse and he scored, you can do that. So you have so many options with CeeDee Lamb, and I love that they're finally using him the right way. And I love how Dak is playing these last games. Dak has his 10th career game with 400 passing yards. All other quarterbacks for the Cowboys only have 9. Dak has 10. I'm going to say it. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I'm going to say it. Dak Prescott deserves to be in the MVP conversation. That man is showing out. Dak Prescott is showing out. And I don't care what none of y'all guys to say. That's another good person. Dak Prescott is just a great human being. And I love that he's showing out the way that he is. Like, he's such a great guy. And he's a great player as well. And you can tell he's getting comfortable again. He's not timid. He's running. He's making plays. He's hitting everybody on the offense. Even Michael Gallup got him a touchdown, man. Like, everybody is getting involved. Everybody's getting involved, and I love it. I will say this. This is the thing that they need to work on still. And I'm going to say it again because I've been saying it the last few weeks. The run game. You got to get the run game going. They did better yesterday, but they got to get Dowdle the ball. Rico Dowdle is a great power running back, and he has speed. If you mix him in there with Tony Pollard, oh my gosh, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be up there for Super Bowl intentions. They're going to be up there for Super Bowl intentions. That's the only thing that they lack at is not running the ball as good as we normally see the Dallas Cowboys run the ball. And Tyler Smith, y'all better recognize the name. Tyler Smith is playing out of his mind. My former North Crowley classmate, even though he graduated in a different class, but I was still there with him. He is playing his butt off, and I feel like they need to run towards him more. Run towards him more. Run towards the outside more. Get him in the toss game. Like, it's so much stuff that they can do, and I like it because it's still the middle of the season, and they upcoming games. I mean, they have Carolina, they have Washington, and then they have somebody else that they should beat. So they should win. They should. Well, no, the team that they should have beat was the Giants. So yeah, the Giants, the Panthers, Washington. I mean, that should be three. I don't want to say easy because it's the NFL, but it should be 3 wins that should be guaranteed. These should be guaranteed wins, and if it's not guaranteed, we have a problem. So, yeah. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. They doing their thing. I told y'all what the deal was. Just give them a little time. Just give them a little time. But Dak, keep doing your thing, brother. Dak for MVP. I said it. Dak for MVP. Next, we're going to go to the Texans. Now, I recorded an episode last week, but I had to take it down for some reasons. But CJ Stroud is playing out of his mind. And the topic now is, since CJ Stroud should have been the first pick. And yes, he has the talent to be the first pick, but he fit right where he is right now. Because Carolina offensive line is horrible. Horrible. They don't even have that many weapons over there. Okay? Adam Thielen is your number one threat. Adam Thielen is not that guy to be your number one threat. And that's just the truth. So, CJ Stroud, he has weapons over there. And let's talk about how Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz, they going crazy. Like, yeah, they did some of that with the Cowboys, but they wasn't doing all of what they're doing right now. So, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see, and I love that CJ Stroud is balling. I love that the Houston Texans is balling. Like, they ain't been balling since Deshaun Watson. Like, man, that happened a while ago. They're playing good, and they're my sleeper team. The Houston Texans is my sleeper team. They just beat a good Cincinnati Bengals team. Okay? They beat the Bucks the week before that. They got an easy schedule coming up. Not easy, but winnable games. They have the Cardinals, they have the Jaguars, and they have the Broncos. I feel like those are 3 winnable games. The Jaguars, they might give them a little competition. Kyler Murray is back, but the Cardinals, they still don't impress me like that. The Broncos, they should win that game. They should win that game. But I want to give CJ Stroud his props because he was showing out at Ohio State, of course. This is his first year. He's a rookie. And he should be in the MVP conversation as well. That defense, too. That defense is real. They can get to your quarterback. I don't know if I said that in a podcast before or if I said it last week. But Will Anderson, that other guy that they have on the end, I don't know his name. Forgive me. The whole defensive line, really, they're good. They're good. When they played the Cowboys last year and they gave them everything, I was like, man, in a couple of years, this team going to be something to reckon with. And I still believe that. In a couple of years, maybe 1 year, really, they're going to be at the top. They're going to be one of those teams in the top. Like, if they beat the Jaguars real good, not real good, but they get a good win, yeah. Because I think the Houston Texans can make the playoffs right now. I took a look at their schedule. They don't have that many difficult games coming up. So, they can get to the playoffs. And it's going to be interesting for sure. It's going to be interesting. Next, I want to talk about a viral clip. It went viral in Louisiana. So, it was a kid's birthday party. It was 2 little boys and the parents in the back, adults in the back. And they're letting the kids play with money and guns. Like dancing, holding up the gun, all that. This is what I mean when I say this generation is doomed. These kids was not even older than 8 probably. Couldn't be older than 8 or 9. One of them looked like he was 2 or 3. And the bigger one, he had to be 8 or 9. And they playing around with guns, and the parents is letting them play around with guns, man. I said, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on in this generation? Like, it's really sad. It's really sad, and although it's sad on the kids' part, it's more sad on the parents' fault. It's more sad for the parents because you let them do it. You encourage them to do it. Like, that's the worst part about it. You encourage them to. You had the guns there. I hope it was a fake gun. I believe it was a fake gun, but still, like, we have to do better. We have to do better. Like, the generation, it depends on who these younger people look up to. That's why it's my job. That's why it's y'all job, whoever's watching, to be a great role model. Because somebody's watching you. Whether you think that or not, somebody is watching you. Somebody got their eyes on you. You are influencing somebody. That's why I always try to do the right thing. Not only because of them, because of me and what I believe in. Like, it comes down to what you believe in and who you want to be as a man and as a woman. It's time to start thinking about that. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. And I'm like, man, I'm really grown. Like, yes, I'm 21, but I'm really grown. I'm about to be out of college. I'm about to be in the real world. I'm dealing with real world stuff right now. I'm like, bro, I'm really grown. It's time to start acting like that. It's time to start forming who I want to be right now and not wait later. Why wait later? You can't wait later. It's now or never, bruh. It's now or never. And it all starts off of what you're doing in this season. What are you doing to improve yourself? What are you doing to improve others that's looking up to you? And it's sad. It's sad because these little kids, like, they raise it up. They think this is the right thing to do. Like, just think about that. Somebody's looking at you and whatever you're doing, they think that's the right thing to do. And in this scenario, this is not the right thing to do. And the fact that y'all posted it is crazy. Like, the fact that you posted it is even more wild. Why would you want to post this? That's not cute. That's not cool. That ain't nothing, bro. That ain't nothing. Like, I don't even want to get on this topic because, boy, I can talk about this all day. Because this is ridiculous, bro. Like, straight up, this is ridiculous. And it's sad that these little kids growing up in this. And, like, that's how social media can ruin everything. That's why I don't even be on there like that. I love y'all. I be on here for y'all. And after that, I'm off, bro. I'm off. Because it's like, it's doomed. This society is really doomed. And it's sad. It's sad. So I wanted to break that because I just saw it. I said, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about this. But now I want to get into my top 4 college football teams. As y'all may know, college football is coming towards an end. And we got a lot of talk of who should be in the top 4, who resume look better than who. So I'm going to give y'all my top 4. Here we go. And then I'm going to give y'all the 3 teams out. Number 1, I got Georgia. Okay? Georgia haven't really played nobody the whole season. But last week they played Ole Miss and they gave it to them. And Ole Miss isn't a bad team. Okay? So they handle business. I got Georgia at number 1. I got Ohio State at number 2. And I say that because they're getting better and better and better. And they're still undefeated. So I had to put them up there. They're still undefeated. They're doing their thing. They got my number 2 pick. Number 3, I got Ohio State. Wait, I just said that. Sorry. Number 3, I got Michigan. I got Michigan. And this whole thing with Coach Harbaugh is crazy. Everything's up in the air. Everything's up in the air. Like, allegedly, if he did this allegedly, if he really stole those plays and stuff, should the team get punished or should he get punished? Because the players, it's not their fault, but you gotta listen to your coach. Like, you trying to win. They possibly couldn't even know that their coach was doing this. So do you punish the players or do you punish the coach? And it's all a team. It's all a team, but that's a tricky situation. That's some Netflix stuff, bro. Like, That is some Netflix stuff. Like, what are we doing? Stealing plays, bro? And you're good. You're a good team. You didn't even need to do that. Allegedly that you did. You didn't even need to do that. In all honesty, you could have just balled out and did your thing. Y'all ain't played nobody anyway. Y'all only play good teams at the end of the year. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? But if he did do it, I don't think he's going to have a job. I don't think he's going to have a job. At least not at Michigan. Speaking of not having jobs, Jimbo Fisher got fired. Texas A&M Aggies. And the crazy thing is, they still have to pay the man millions of dollars. Like, boy, what? You can fire me all you want. Just give me my money. Give me my money. Like, just imagine getting fired and they still have to pay you millions for you not doing anything. And them firing him at that time was so weird to me because what was the point of that? Like, you guys were winning. You just got off a commanding 53-10 win or something like that versus Mississippi State. What was the point of firing them? Like, I want to know. Like, yeah, they haven't been as good as people expected them to be. They've been dealing with injuries too as well. I just didn't see the point of firing him like in the middle of the season. Like, it's not even the middle. The end of the season. You couldn't wait till the end to fire him. Like, you had to fire him right now. Something had to happen. I don't care. Y'all talking, they talking about some, he wasn't producing. Nah. Something happened. Because you don't fire nobody right at the end of the season and you still owe him all this money. Ain't no way. So, I had to get my rent because he got fired. Fourth team, I got Florida State. Florida State, they're struggling recently. They've been struggling recently, but they still winning. And they're still undefeated. Ooh, look at my pinky, y'all. They're still undefeated. So, I have Florida State. And then at number 5, I have Washington. I didn't expect this from Washington. But it's tricky because when you add in them Pac-12 teams, you're like, bruh, are they really good? Are they really this good? And I don't want a playoff spot to be wasted. If Washington go in there and they... Siri, ain't nobody talking to you. I don't want them to go and waste a potential spot. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why I got them at number 5. But they're still balling. This hurts to say. I got Texas at number 6. Who they lose to? They lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been losing ever since. I told y'all in the podcast. They gonna lose. Just wait on it. Just wait. Texas and Oklahoma, they gonna lose. They can't keep winning. They're not like that. Just wait and be patient on it. They're gonna lose. So, I think the same thing about Texas. They almost lost versus TCU. And if they would have lost that game, that's out of there. But they pulled it out. They showed that, hey, we can compete when things get rough. So that's why I got Texas at number 6. I got Alabama at number 7. All I got to say to y'all is don't let Alabama get into the top 4. You do not let Alabama get into the top 4 because they're back. They're back. Jalen Miro is playing out of his mind. Tommy Reese, I'm going to give you your props today. Shout out to you, Tommy Reese, because I've been on you on this podcast, but you're calling, you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. So shout out to Tommy Reese. Shout out to everybody. Like, everybody's just playing phenomenal football down there in Tuscaloosa. Nobody wants to see Alabama right now. Alabama, they just clinched their spot in the SEC championship. They played Georgia. Before Georgia played Ole Miss, I thought Alabama could smack them. But after what I saw versus Ole Miss, it's going to be a good game. But y'all already know it's Roll Tide over here. Roll Tide over here, baby. So as long as don't let Alabama get in that top 4. Because y'all going to be mad. That's all I got to say. And then I got Oregon at 8. I got Oregon at 8 just because, they lost to Washington. Who have they played? When you could talk about the resume and stuff, you had to add all that in. So, yeah, definitely had to add all that in. Now we're finna get into NBA talk. Luka and Kyrie is clicking. They clicking. Last year, I got tired of seeing all the hate of Luka and Kyrie will never work. The Mavericks suck. This was a wasted trade. I got tired of hearing all that. And now that they're doing their thing, Nico, he added all them pieces. Man, they look good. They look good. The one thing I don't like is how many threes they shoot, but they making most of them. They shooting 40%. They're leading the league at shooting 40%. So I mean, by all means, if you're gonna make them, keep shooting it. But when this is the difference between last year and this year. Last year, on nights where they're not making it, they're just gonna keep settling. This year, they like, okay, if it's not falling, we're gonna get into the paint. And I love that. The defense is better. They're playing at a more fast pace. Luka is running. Luka is in shape. I love it. They're 8-2, tied for number 1 in the West. Now, I know the season just started, but y'all watch out for the Mavericks. Y'all watch out for the Mavericks because they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. And Luka and Kyrie, like, man, Kyrie had 35 last night. Luka had 30. And Luka didn't even play the fourth quarter. Luka didn't even play the fourth quarter. Kyrie played like half of it. Maybe not even half. Maybe a quarter of it. So, yeah. That was a surprise for me because if y'all seen the episode with Trey, I'd even have them in my top 8, top 10. I mean, yeah, I know I did. I just didn't have them in my top 4 teams. Right now they're top or second. So, shout out to Dallas. Now we're going to go over there to the Clippers. James Harden. The Clippers are 0-4 with Harden. And at this point, the season just started. I don't want to say it's all James Harden's fault. In the past, you can say all that was his fault. But right now, they haven't had time to click. They haven't had time to find that, dynamic duos that they have, that connection, that chemistry. They haven't really had the time to do that. I will say, though, with all them superstars on the team, I just don't know how that's going to work. I have no idea how that's going to work. You got Kawhi, you got Paul George, you got Russell Westbrook, and now James Harden. It took them a while to get adjusted with Russell Westbrook, and they finally did. They found out what worked for them, and now you add another superstar who clearly shows that they want the ball in their hand most of the time. How is this going to work? Everybody can't eat. With 4 superstars? No. Nah. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't see it working. They haven't won a game since they got Harden. I don't think they should have traded for James Harden. I don't know what that was about. That was kind of idiotic to me. Like, I feel like they just got greedy. Like, this is not Space Jam. This is not the All-Star game, man. Like, they got a whole All-Star lineup over there. That's crazy. Like, that's not basketball, man. Like, all them stars, it's just not gonna work. I just don't see it working. So, good luck to the Clippers because they gonna need a whole bunch of it. Good luck for that. We're gonna go over to Chris Brown's new album. If y'all know me, y'all know I love music, and I love Chris Brown as an artist. This new album is fire. No skips. I've been listening to it ever since it dropped. I've been listening to it nonstop. I really think you guys should check out the album. This is like a full R&B album too. Normally with Chris Brown, we get a little rap music in there and all that. This is fully R&B. This is a masterpiece. You got your Jamaican upbeats in there. You got your slow jams in there. You got Chris doing Chris in there. Like, it's an amazing album. And I want to share with y'all my favorite songs from it. My favorite songs is the first song on the first 3 songs. Presser, Angel Number / 10 Toes. That's number 1. He's talking about anxiety, how nobody sees what he's going through. It don't let the pressure get to your head. Boy, I love that song. Sensational. That's a little upbeat song. That's just a vibe. It's just a vibe. And then Press Me. Those 3 in that order, oh my God. Like, when I heard the first song, I was like, oh, this album's finna be a 10 out of 10. Then I got to the second song, I said, okay. I got to the third song, I said, oh yeah, it's raps. Yeah, this album, he did it. Then you got Shooter. Then you got the Messed Up, Midnight Freak, Moonlight. Like, bro, I could go on and on about that album. Go check out the album. Go, you'll like it. You will like it. I love the album. It was a great album. Is a great album. Man, Chris Brown, you done did it again. You done did it again. But we're gonna go on to a segment which is new for us. Well, not new, but I haven't done it in a long time. I asked some of you guys to give me some topics of what y'all want to talk about. And this time I asked one of my best friends for some advice. Not advice, like some topics that she would want to hear that many people struggle with or whatever. So, first off, I want to say sometimes you have to isolate yourself to let God prepare you for what He has done in your life. Man, a lot of people, I know for me, I said I felt lonely plenty of times. And most of the times I do feel lonely. Like I don't even be doing nothing really and truly. Like I just go to class, do my podcast, go to work, stay to myself. That's really it. Like it was a period of time where I didn't even smile. It was a period of time where I couldn't stand being by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how bad it was. But now that I got that wisdom and I got that knowledge, I'm like, bro, sometimes you got to isolate yourself to let God prepare you for what He's bringing to you. And then it may hurt. It definitely gonna hurt. You're gonna feel lonely. But you gotta cut your grass and know the people that's not supposed to be in your life. When I say that, many people might think, what you mean cut your grass? When you have people surrounded by you that ain't supposed to be in your life, it's not enough room for God to bless you. You got to make room for your blessings. You got to cut your grass. You got to eliminate everybody that's not supposed to be in your life. Because if you just hold them there, they're just draining you. First of all, they're draining you. God can't bless you because you're not listening to Him. You're listening to all these other people, and it won't work. It just won't work. And that's life. Like, that's what I said about growing up and being older. Like, that's what I've been thinking about. Like, bro, I'm really grown. I'm really grown. You're really grown. Whoever's watching this, you're really grown. It's time to start acting like that. It's time to start thinking about that, man. Like, let God work. If you feel like it's your time to be alone, then maybe it is your time to be alone. I feel like for me, I learned so much in my time of loneliness, my season of waiting, than I had when I had people around me. Like, it's so much stuff that you can do and accomplish by being on your own. And it can't even, like, you might be on your own, but more than likely it's somebody that's rooting for you, somebody that cares for you that you just don't see yet. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and acknowledge that. And that's what I had to do. And boy, it was, I'm not even going to lie to you. I'll lie for you before I lie to you. It was tough. It was real rough. It was some days where I'm just like, Lord, I don't want to say why, but Jesus. Really? this what we on? But I'm like, man, like everything happens for a reason. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And just know, if life was easy, if whatever you're doing is easy, everybody would do it. Like, I know for me, my story is different from everybody else's story. And I've been through a lot. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't, because that's my story. That's how God spoke to me. That's how God wanted me to react. That's what He made me to be, so I can inspire others. That's the whole point of this podcast. Like, I really love everybody who's watching this podcast. I love the platform that I built because it's more than just sports. It's more than just trying to make my resume look good. It's more than just making my portfolio look good. It's me trying to do what God put me on this earth to do, to share love, to share joy, to share the word. That's what I want to do. That means more to me than anything. And I'm finally in a point in the season where I'm finally figuring out my calling. I'm finally figuring out my calling. I'm finally figuring out my calling in the season that I'm in. And I'm like, man, the only thing on my mind now is how can I complete what God wants me to do in this season that I'm in, because the season's finna be up. The season's finna be up. And I just want to complete everything that's in front of me. Everything that I can, I just want to do. Anybody that needs help, I just want to help them out. And like, but me, I don't know. It's like I can read when somebody going through it. Like I can just look at them and be like, yeah, you ain't right. You're not right. And that's where I can say I mess up at, because I expect people to do that because I can do that, but everybody don't got it like that. Like, that's just a blessing that I can do that. It's a blessing that I can do that, and it's a blessing to others that I can see that and don't let them get to the point where I was in. Like, I'm one of them people who care about people more than they care about themselves. Like, that's me. And just as long as I see the people I love happy, I see somebody else happy, I'm okay. I said this on a podcast before. I bite the bullet plenty of times. Like, okay, I'll take the pain. I'll take the suffering. Just as long as you okay, that's all that matter to me. Just as long as you good. And like sometimes it hurt. Not sometimes, most of the time it hurt. Because most of the time somebody might think something of you and they don't really know the truth. And you just like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Just as long as you happy, I'm cool. I'm cool. And like that's why I'm like, man, like I work so hard because it keeps me focused. It keeps me grounded, keeps me humble. And I'm just like, I know I'm going to make it. God has already revealed to me that I'm going to make it. I just don't know the timeline on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm just being in the moment, enjoying life, enjoying everything that comes towards me because I can learn in any situation. I said this in my last podcast that I had to take down. Like, can you really lose? Can you really lose? I feel like in every situation you learn something. Even if the outcome that you wanted didn't come, you still learn something. And now you know how to take on that. You're just not just going to sit there and just complain and pout and say that you lost. You can be like, okay, this is what I did. Like athletes, for example. If they lose a game, they're watching film, taking notes. How can I apply this to the next game? How can I make my game better? It's just like that in life. You take a situation and you realize, oh, man, I did this wrong. Or, oh, I could have did this better. Or, oh, I did this good. Let me apply this to the next situation. And if it didn't work, cool. That thing wasn't meant for you. That person wasn't meant for you. Move on. Life goes on. And life is too short to just sit there and just pout. Life is too short to just sit there and complain and worry. And I'm saying this with so much passion because I've been there. And I know somebody who's watching this is probably in that point right now. And that's what Sit Down with CJ Stroud is all about. It's all about helping. It's all about letting you know that you're not alone. It's all about giving you confirmation to step into your calling that God has for you. It's all about me trying to encourage you to get into the word, to do what's best for you. Do what's best for you. Don't sit there and wait on anybody else. Do what God calls you to do. Do what makes you happy. Something that I've been thinking about. So I know I got on a little rant, but one of the questions was, what makes a good friend? How do I know when to set boundaries? When is it good to cut someone off? A good friend to me is a 24-hour person. If you watch Swagger, you know what that means. But a 24-hour person is something that I've been saying that I was before the show even came out. 24 hours a day, I'm there if you need it. That's what a 24-hour person is. No matter the time, I'm there for you. No matter the situation, I'm there for you. That's what makes a good friend. A good friend is someone who put their own feelings aside to help the person in need. That's a good friend. A good friend is somebody that won't let you drown in depression, in anxiety, in life situations. That's a good friend. A good friend is going to tell you when you're wrong. A good friend isn't just going to tell you that you're right all the time. That's a good friend. So, a 24-hour person, that's how I explain it. That's who I am. That's who Jaylon Shoots is. That's who you guys should thrive to be. How to set boundaries. Sometimes you got to set boundaries. I was in a situation where I needed to set boundaries. They need to set boundaries. And when things are going wrong, I feel like that's when you know you need to set boundaries. When things are off, you're just like, man, some ain't clicking. We might need to set some boundaries. You know, that boundaries can be something different. Like most of the times, like if somebody messing with somebody else, like, hey, you got to know this. Like you got to know that I'm available with this. Like spending less time with each other, spending more time with each other. Sometimes boundaries can be healthy, but sometimes boundaries are meant to be overstepped. Like sometimes you don't have to sit there and abide by every rule. Rules were meant to be broken. Sorry, but they were. Some rules were meant to be broken. And sometimes you just gotta do what you think is best. Well, you gotta put every relationship, every situation to have God in the center of it. And if it doesn't, it ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And it's that simple. It's that simple. It just won't work. So that's what I say a good friend is and how to set boundaries. And when to cut someone off, when you tried everything that you can and it's mentally draining you more than it's giving you hope, more than it's giving you encouragement. If it's just draining you, then it's time to let it go. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying in one of my podcasts. Like every time that you have to step back or something, it's not that you had to cut them off. Maybe you just had to separate yourself for that season that you in. We all go through different seasons. Everybody go through different seasons, and everybody isn't meant to be in everybody's life for every season. Like you just have to know what's best for you. Know when it's time to let go, and that's the toughest part. The toughest part is to let go. I was in a situation where I just did not want to let go. And most of the times we'd be like, man, I worked so hard for this. Like, I put so much effort into this. I put so much money into this. I put so much time into this. And a lot of times we just don't want to let go. But sometimes when it's draining you, you got to let go. Because that's the only answer to it, is to let go. Just let go, and that wasn't the answer. Like, you try, you put all of it in, and that's the hardest part about letting go, because like you wasted, not wasted, because you learned something from it, like I said, but you put so much effort and time and stuff into it, and it just didn't work out. But just know, like, man, every weapon, like no weapon against you shall prosper. So you know, like that's not the failure of you. Like something better is coming on the way, and that's just how you got to think about it. The next question was when to protect your peace. How to protect your peace. I say when to protect your peace, that's always be number one. I feel like it shouldn't even be a win to protect your peace. It should always be to protect my peace. Because life is just so much better when you're at peace. Life is just so much better when you don't have to worry about anything, about people, about school, about life. Like when you're just at peace, everything flows. And yeah, it's life. Things are gonna happen. But when you at peace, it don't even matter. Like for me, it be so much stuff going on still, and I'm not even gonna fib to y'all. I said I was at peace a couple months ago, and I started to let some people back in, and I started to try to do more than what I should have been doing, and I started to lose that peace that I gained. And I was like, nah, I can't do this, bro. I can't do this. I have to learn to balance it. I have to learn to balance it. And I started to lose my peace, but I didn't lose all of it. I started to lose some of it. But peace should be the number one thing beside God. God and peace. That should be the number one thing of how you look at life. Because what's the point of living life in worry? What's the point of living life being mad, being sad? You shouldn't have to do that. If you find yourself stressing over a situation more than you need to, that means you're not at peace. That means whatever you're doing ain't the answer. And to find peace, I mean, you just got to get in the word. You got to get in the word. You got to do what's best for you. You got to sometimes just breathe. A lot of the time in life when stuff going on, we just moving. Like we're not even really thinking about just relaxing. Like we're just getting going. But sometimes you just need to breathe, calm down, take a breath, and think before you do. Think before you do. I had to learn that lesson. Sometimes you think and you overthink, but I'd rather overthink than to do something wrong. And that's why life can be so confusing, but it's so beautiful at the same time if you got God by your side. Because if you got God by your side, everything is going to work out. Everything's going to work out. No situation is too much for God. Like he knows a plan that you don't know. And that's what keeps me going. Like, man, like, oh man, something might have went wrong today. Whatever. Like, I know God got a plan for me, and that's just a little bump in the road. That's just a little bump in the road. And sometimes you got to go through that hurt before you can get your blessing. You gotta sit there in the trials and tribulations. You gotta see where you went wrong, and you just gotta listen to God, because most of the time He's speaking to you. Most of the time He's speaking to you. It's just when we get caught in our own ways, we don't listen. And listening is a big difference. Like if you're not listening, then yeah, you're not gonna be too much successful. You're not gonna be that much successful. So those were the questions that I was asked. If you have any questions that you want me to hit on, DM my Instagrams. Sit down with Swaggy Shoots _ in between every word. Hit me up on there. Yeah, I don't really be on my personal side. I don't say hit me up on there because I don't be on there. I really don't be on there. But yeah, guys, I've really been blessed. Oh, and for the people, because I said this last episode, for the people who think something wrong with me and I'm not okay, I'm fine. I am good. This is blessed in sign language. I'm really blessed. I couldn't ask to be in a better place than I am right now. It's just sometimes I just be drained. I just be tired. And that's a part of my story. And maybe one day I'll share all of the story to you. But that's just a part of my story, and I'm really fine. It's just sometimes I just don't want to talk. It's just that simple. Sometimes I just don't want to talk. Sometimes I just want to sit back and observe and just relax and laugh to myself and have a great time without having to talk all the time. And that's the problem when you're the high energy guy. People expect you to have that energy 24/7 once you're that energy guy. And I'm like, man, I got to be careful with how much energy I bring to some times and some days, because once you give it, that's what people expect. And I'm like, bro, you can't expect nothing from me, because like I'm consistent. I'm a consistent person. I can bring it. It's just like some days I just don't want to bring it. Why do I always have to bring it? Why can't I just relax some days? So yeah. But I'm fine. I promise you I'm fine. I promise you I'm Gucci. And last thing I'm gonna say, cause I can wrap this up. If you're out there and you're going through it, you're out there, you're in a season where you just don't know what's going on. You're out there and you don't know if you're surrounded by the right people. Pray about it. Pray about it. And if you having that thought, more than likely you're not surrounded by the right people. More than likely, you need to find that peace. More than likely, you need to find that wisdom. More than likely, you're not the only one out there that's going through it. And that's the beauty of this podcast, because I know somebody's out there going through it. And I've been in that situation, so I'm just not going to sit there and let you drown in what's going on. I don't even know you, but I still want the best for you, because that's just the type of person I stand on. That's just the respect I have for you and for the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want everything to be better. I want everything to be better. I don't want nobody to go through anxiety, to go through depression, any of that, because I know it sucks. So just know I'm praying for you, and just know that you're not alone. You're never alone. But that's going to wrap up this episode. I am your host and founder, Jaylon Shoots. Hey, I need some more interviewers. So if you're trying to get interviewed, if you know somebody that should be interviewed, once again, hit me up on my Instagram. I'll respond. Definitely want to get them on the episode. I'm blessed. I love y'all. Look at my finger. Good God. Don't dislocate your finger. Love y'all, and I'm out. Peace. Baby, come talk to me. This where you supposed to be. Hey, he can't love you like I love you, and it's plain to see. Baby, come talk to me. This where you supposed to be. Hey, he can't love you like I love you, and it's plain to see. Baby, come talk to me. This where you supposed to be. Hey, he can't love you like I love you, and it's plain to see. Baby, come talk to me. This where you supposed to be. Baby, what's going on?